One bullet, one man, and the world was never the same. This isn't just the story of a single assassination, it's a tale of political intrigue, secret societies, and a world on the brink of monumental change. Meet Gavrilo Princip, just a young man but with convictions strong enough to shake the world. Born into a time of intense nationalism, Princip was a member of the Black Hand, a secret society committed to the cause of Serbian independence. Their enemy, the mighty Empire of Austria-Hungary, a power that had annexed Bosnia and Herzegovina, the homeland of many Serbians, including Princip 16 years prior in 1908. The Black Hand had a plan, a daring and desperate one. Their target was none other than Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary. A high-ranking royal, the Archduke was set to visit Sarajevo on June 28, 1914. It was an opportunity the Black Hand couldn't pass up. A successful assassination might just ignite the spark needed to free Serbia from the Empire's clutches. But it wasn't just about Serbia. Europe at the time was a tangled web of alliances and enmities. The great powers were locked in a delicate balance, a dance of diplomacy and military might. Assassinating the Archduke could disrupt that balance, sending shockwaves throughout the continent. The Black Hand was playing a dangerous game, one that could plunge the whole of Europe and potentially the world into war. Yet, for Princip and his fellow conspirators, the risk was worth the potential reward. Their plan was set, their resolve unshaken. In the bustling streets of Sarajevo, they waited for the Archduke's arrival, their hearts filled with a mix of anticipation and anxiety. The stage was set for a day that would go down in the annals of history. In the heart of Sarajevo, a plot was brewing that would change the course of history. The world was teetering on the edge of a precipice, and all it needed was one push, one bullet, to send it tumbling into the abyss. Little did they know, the echoes of that gunshot would resonate for years to come, shaping the face of the world as we know it. The Archduke and his wife arrived in Sarajevo, oblivious of the insidious plot against their lives. The city, a melting pot of political tension and secret alliances, was a live wire waiting to spark off the fuse of war. As the royal couple made their way through the city, the Black Hand members lay in wait, their hearts pounding with the weight of their mission. Their plan was simple yet deadly. Assassinate Archduke Franz Ferdinand and ignite the flame of Serbian independence. Yet, as the saying goes, even the best-laid plans often go awry. The motorcade with the Archduke and his wife was meant to take a specific route, a path that the Black Hand had meticulously mapped out for their deadly ambush. But fate, that unpredictable force, had a different plan. The driver, in a twist of events, took a different route. The conspirators were caught off guard, their plan thrown into disarray. In the midst of this chaos, a bomb was hurled at the Archduke's motorcade. The air hung heavy with anticipation as it arched through the sky, a harbinger of death and destruction. But again, fate intervened. The bomb, instead of finding its mark, only succeeded in wounding the Archduke and his wife, Sophie. The royal couple survived, their lives clinging onto a thread of safety amidst the looming danger. The city of Sarajevo breathed a momentary sigh of relief. The Archduke and his wife were alive, their assassination thwarted. The Black Hand's plan had failed, their mission unfulfilled. But unbeknownst to the royal couple and the city's inhabitants, this was just the beginning. The Black Hand, undeterred, was already recalibrating, readying for another attempt. A failed attempt, a fleeting moment of safety, but the danger was far from over. The stage was set, the players in place, and the drama of history was ready to unfold in its most devastating act. An unexpected visit to the hospital, a decision to attend a parade, all while death was in hot pursuit. The Archduke and his wife, Sophie, in a commendable show of resilience, chose to visit the wounded at the hospital after surviving the earlier failed assassination attempt. Unbeknownst to them, the Black Hand was already adjusting its plans. Death was still lurking in the shadows. In the midst of the morning's turmoil, the young Serbian nationalist, Gavrilo Princip, was stationed along the route of the subsequent military parade. The Archduke and his wife, unbowed by the morning's events, rode in an open car, a striking image of defiance in the face of adversity. It was this very spirit that would unfortunately lead them into the path of their demise. As the motorcade approached, Princip seized his opportunity. A bomb hurled with a deadly aim found its mark. The Archduke and his wife were caught in the blast. The parade, once a scene of celebration, was now a tableau of chaos and death. The Archduke and his wife, figures of nobility and power, were reduced to victims in an instant. The news of the successful assassination spread like wildfire. The joyous parade turned into a day of national mourning. The streets of Sarajevo, once filled with cheers and applause, were now silent, save for the somber tolling of bells. The world watched in shock as the unthinkable had occurred. The heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne and his wife were no more. The repercussions of this successful assassination were immediate and far-reaching. A single act of violence perpetrated by a handful of individuals had the potential to draw nations into a conflict of unprecedented scale. The delicate balance of power in Europe was disrupted, setting the stage for a war that would engulf the world. One bullet, two lives, and the world on the brink of cataclysmic change. The successful assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand and his wife Sophie was not just a tragic loss of two lives, but the spark that ignited the powder keg of tensions in Europe, leading the world to the brink of the First World War. In the wake of the assassination, the world held its breath. As the news of Archduke Franz Ferdinand's demise echoed through the corridors of power, a veil of uncertainty descended. Nations watched, waited, and wondered what would come next. The political fallout was immediate and far-reaching, a ripple effect that would span continents and redefine the world as we knew it. The assassination was not just a senseless act of violence, it was a spark that ignited the tinderbox of European politics. It was the domino that tipped over an intricate web of alliances and enmities, carefully woven over decades, and set the stage for a conflict of unprecedented scale, World War I. In the heart of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, Emperor Franz Joseph was thrust into a precarious position. His nephew and presumptive heir had been brutally murdered, and the world was watching for his response. The emperor, a seasoned ruler, was well aware that his actions would not only decide the fate of his empire, but could also plunge the entire continent into war. Meanwhile, in Germany, Kaiser Wilhelm II watched the unfolding drama with keen interest. As an ally of Austria-Hungary, the Kaiser knew that any conflict involving the empire could potentially draw Germany into the fray. Yet he also understood that such a conflict could provide an opportunity for Germany to assert its growing power on the global stage. As diplomatic cables flew back and forth, the tension mounted. Austria-Hungary, backed by Germany, issued an ultimatum to Serbia, demanding a series of measures that would infringe upon Serbian sovereignty. Serbia, supported by Russia, rejected the ultimatum. The stage was set for war. As the clock ticked down, the nations of Europe were drawn into the conflict one by one. The intricate web of alliances and treaties designed to maintain a balance of power instead served to escalate the situation. It was a chain reaction of events that no one could stop. In the midst of this political turmoil, the figure of Gavrilo Princip, the young Serbian nationalist who had fired the fatal shot, was almost forgotten. Yet his act of violence had set in motion a series of events that would reshape the world. As nations took sides and armies were mobilized, the world braced for the storm to come. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand had become the catalyst for a conflict that would claim millions of lives, redraw national boundaries, and change the course of history. From the ashes of the assassination, the flames of war were kindled. The world was on the brink of the Great War, a war that would redefine the concept of conflict and leave an indelible mark on the course of human history. The aftermath of the assassination was not just a chapter in a history book. It was a harsh reminder of the fragility of peace and the devastating consequences of political machinations. The echoes of the gunshots still lingered as the world plunged into chaos. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand had set off a chain of events that no one could have anticipated. The world was on the brink of a devastating war, a conflict that would reshape the globe and leave millions dead. In the midst of this turmoil, Gavrilo Princip, the young Serbian nationalist who had fired the fatal shot, was swiftly captured. His trial was a spectacle that captured the world's attention. Far from expressing remorse, Princip stood by his actions, claiming they were necessary for the liberation of his people. His unwavering conviction both intrigued and horrified those who watched the proceedings unfold. As Princip faced the consequences of his actions, he was not alone in his struggle. The other key figures of this story grappled with their own moral dilemmas. Franz Joseph, the Emperor of Austria-Hungary, was forced to confront the reality that his empire was crumbling around him. Kaiser Wilhelm II of Germany, meanwhile, found himself navigating a complex web of alliances and enmities that threatened to pull his country into a war he wasn't sure he could win. The personal struggles of these characters reflected the larger conflict that was engulfing the world. Each decision, each action had far-reaching implications. The assassination had not only ended the lives of Archduke Franz Ferdinand and his wife Sophie, but it had also sparked a war that would change the course of history. As the world moved inexorably towards war, the characters were left to contemplate the consequences of their actions. The reckoning had arrived, and it was harsher than any of them could have imagined. Each of them had played a part in the unfolding drama, and each of them would have to live with the repercussions. The world had changed, the characters had changed, and the echoes of that fateful day still resonate. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand is a poignant reminder of how a single event can ripple outwards, altering the course of history and forever changing the lives of those involved. In the aftermath of war, there is always a time for reflection. As the dust of conflict settles, we find ourselves looking back at the spark that ignited the flame. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, a single event, set the world ablaze in a war that would forever change the course of human history. World War I, known as the Great War, was a testament to the devastating power of collective action fueled by nationalism, alliances, and political maneuverings. It was a war that brought forth unimaginable destruction, loss of life, and irrevocable changes in the global landscape. The shot fired by Gavrilo Princip in Sarajevo echoed far beyond the borders of Bosnia and Herzegovina. It reverberated through the corridors of power in Vienna, Berlin, London, Paris, and Moscow. It was not just a bullet that killed the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne. It was a bullet that shattered the fragile peace of Europe. The assassination was the catalyst, but the war was the result of years of political tension, conflicting interests, and a tangled web of alliances. It was a testament to how individual actions driven by deeply rooted beliefs and passions can have profound and far-reaching implications. As we reflect on this momentous event, we are reminded of the intricate and delicate balance of world politics. The assassination of Franz Ferdinand serves as a stark reminder of the potential consequences when diplomacy fails and violence takes its place. It also underscores the importance of understanding the complexities of history. It is through these lessons that we can gain insights into our present and possibly shape our future. We are reminded that history is not just a series of isolated events, but a complex tapestry woven together by the threads of time. We are left with the image of a young man, a gun, and a royal couple. A moment in time that would forever alter the course of the 20th century. A moment that would leave an indelible mark on the collective consciousness of humanity. One bullet, one man, and the world was never the same. A lesson from history that should never be forgotten.